Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a get ready with me. Get ready with me. I'm gonna get ready. I'm gonna be using some old makeup. I'm gonna be using some new makeup, and I am just gonna be chatting a little bit about some questions that you had for me over at Instagram about like being a content creator, the good, the bad, the stressful. So we're just gonna chat about like a day-to-day life for me and getting ready. I have a couple of new things, like I said. I think the big ticket thing that we're gonna be talking about in this video is this new palette by Nomad Cosmetics. The one that has the pop of yellow. We're gonna try it out. I'm just gonna start with applying some primer to begin with, and then we'll just zoom in just a little bit so that we can actually see some things. If you're wondering about any of the things that I'm gonna be talking about in today's episode, I will link everything down in the description box, and I will put in the description box whether or not I got NPR, whether or not I bought it with my own money, and also if I have any like discount codes or anything like that. It's all gonna be down in the description box. And I also did my nails. Look at how pretty they are. Rainbow for pride. So yeah, let's zoom in, let's get into it because we have things to chat about. So I got this question when I was doing, I don't know when this is coming up in time. I had a get ready with me quite recently where I was asking some questions, and I got this question from my friend Ali Dawson, which is, what is it truly like being a content creator at times? Get ready with me. And I thought that, like she put, would just make such a great get ready with me style video, because I think there's always questions to be had about a job that it's almost like it's a little mystifying. It's a job that people have nowadays, content creator, but it's also a little bit mysterious because like not everyone knows exactly what it means and how much work goes into it and what you really need and like how much money you're making and all of these things. And I have done a couple of videos like this before, and I don't want to say like, oh, I'm an open book, because I'm definitely not that. But I feel like I am as open about talking about this job as I would have been talking about any other job that I've had, basically. So I'm not afraid to like answer like any kind of questions about it or like talk about the good and the bad, because I feel like most jobs today, and I think that most of us can agree with this, most jobs have their good things and they have their bad things, and being a content creator definitely comes with some good things and some bad things. So let's see what kind of questions you had. I'm gonna pick a couple of these as we go. Usually I like prepare a little bit more than I have today, but I have a bunch quite now, and I'm just gonna go through them and we'll see. I feel like this one could be a good one to start with, because it is the how do you deal with all the know-it-all assholes. I will say, and I have said long before I was doing any kind of YouTube, I always used to say that the worst kind of stupidity is the aggressive stupidity. You know, the people that are like ridiculously wrong, but they're like aggressive about it. Like they will not listen to reason, they will not listen to logic, they will not listen to anything because they are so sure in what they believe or what they think that it turns into what I call an aggressive stupidity. And I think that there is a lot of know-it-alls in social media as well. There's a lot of people who think they know you more than they actually do, which I feel comes with the territory of like showing your life online. And I think there is a lot of people that forget that I choose what I show you. Like I show you what I want you to see. Like you do not know all aspects about me, about my personality, about my life. You don't know all the people that I know, all the people I hang out with, all the discussions that I have, everything that's going on behind the scenes. Like you don't have the full picture, and you also don't know much about the person that I was before I started my YouTube channel. You only know what I have told you. So I find it sometimes fascinating when people will tell you your entire life story based on what I have chosen to show you, because people are sometimes extrapolating to the point where it's like, this isn't me. The person that you're describing, and sometimes even like the person that you are upset with, I don't know who that person is, but it's not me. And it is fascinating sometimes when people will tell you with their whole chest stuff that just isn't true, stuff that never happened, and they will tell me that they're upset with me with stuff that I've said. The problem is that I never said it. And sometimes people, you know, misremember stuff that's been said, or there are sometimes people that are, I know that you used to hate this brand, how come you didn't address that? And it's like, I think you are mixing me up with another creator. Like, that happens a lot when people are super upset about stuff that they are so sure that you said or did, but they're like obviously mixing you up with another creator. And it's like, that's not much I can do about that, because like, if they're this upset with me about something I didn't do, like they're not gonna listen to me say like, I'm sorry I didn't do it. Like, that's not me. The person you're describing, I don't think you're describing me. I think you're like a little lost at this point. But like, I don't mind that much, because like sometimes when people describe things where I'm like, oh well, this person doesn't know me, and the way that they're going about stuff, like the aggressiveness of it all kind of shows me that they're not really interested in getting to know the true me either. Like, they've already made up their mind about me, and something about their life makes them angry enough to feel like they need to shout it online. That doesn't bother me too much. Like, I know who I am. I know that I am a good person. That doesn't bother me as much as maybe it should. As much as it maybe should, it doesn't bother me that much. What bothers me a little bit, and has been doing lately, is people, let me see, do I have a good brush here? This one. Is people that I can tell that they like my videos and they watch my videos, and I think they mean well, but they try to micromanage me so that I can be even better for them. Oh, we could be really good friends if you just talked like this, or if you just stop talking about this person, or if you could just do your eyeshadow like this, or if you could just pronounce this correctly, or if you could just like, I'm not gonna be that person. I think that bothers me more when it's like, would you tell your friend that if we really were friends? Because sometimes I do think that people mean well, but if we really were friends, would you tell your friend, I really wish that you would like change this about you? Like, I don't tell my friends that. And I think that if one of my friends told me that they thought that I should change, I would stop hanging out with them, because like, I want someone to like me for who I am, and I don't know where that part disappeared, accepting people for who they are, especially when you like them, when you like most parts about them. I don't know what happened with accepting people for the good and the bad, where that got like lost in the translation online, because I feel like if you really liked someone in real life, you wouldn't be that like into the details, into the nitty-gritty with stuff. And that's the thing that confuses me. Okay, so we have this beautiful palette, but I think I'm gonna do the palette not last, but like somewhat last. I also have these bronzers that I never got around to using. These are the Infinity bronzers. These are also by LH Cosmetics. And I don't know if I have like shade 2 and 3, or if I have shade 1 or 2. But I'm going to be using this one that's a little lighter, because I actually do not have a lot of tan right now. I've not had time to be by the pool. So this one isn't always. I'm not 100% sure if this is the lightest shade or if this is the second to lightest shade. But I'm guessing that this is the lightest shade, because it also shows up very, very light. So maybe I should actually be using the other one. Yeah, this is probably for fair skin, because that's not a lot now, is it? Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna have to go into this one that is called Beyond, which is just a little bit of more of a darker tone. I wonder if this is the light or if this is the medium. I'm not 100% sure. The foundation that I'm using today is described as a light medium foundation. So I know that it's like I'm on the cusp of not being able to use that foundation, because I have so little tan on, because I haven't been able to be outside much. But this one does work out good. Definitely. I kind of want to use this cheek palette again by Charlotte Tilbury. I think I'm going to be using these glowy shades here, because I feel like I want to. Let me find another question. How do you feel when someone says influencers aren't trustworthy with their recommendations? I get it. I think it's easy when you sometimes see some influencers saying stuff that makes it obvious that they're not maybe the most trustworthy person. I think it's easy to assume that like everyone is like that, and I don't think it's a bad thing to not be too naive, because nobody wants to be tricked into buying like bad products. I think when you're trying to decide which one to trust or not, I think it's always in the beginning good to get a second opinion. See what they think about products that you already know you like. Try to find some products in your collection that you think are really good products that really fit you, that you really like, and then see if any of the people that you watch agree, if they've also given that product a good review, and then maybe get a second opinion before you like just blindly believe someone. I do find it a little bit hurtful when people say like, oh, all creators are like liars, because I think a lot of people think that shopping through my links that I make like millions through, that's not how I pay my rent. That's definitely not the bulk of my money coming through you like shopping through my links. It's the you watching me. That's the part that really makes a difference for me. And when you do shop through my links, of course that helps as well, but like I don't want to lie to people. I don't really think that even if I were, and that's what I'm trying to say, even if I were the kind of person that'd be like, oh, let me just tell people that this one is great so that people will shop through my link and I will make more money. For me, the economic incentive for that just isn't big enough for me to be like a liar. I don't want to be caught in a lie. I don't want people to say like, oh, don't believe the things that Angelica says, because some of the things that she's been recommending has been horrible. And with that being said, I've also talked about this before. Like I even made a video about that, like what makes a good review and what makes a bad review. And I think that sometimes like preferences play a bigger role in makeup reviews than we than we give it credit for. Like I don't like a luminous foundation. So if you like a luminous foundation and you buy my favorite foundation, you're probably not gonna love it, because it's not gonna be a luminous or a dewy foundation, because that's not what I go for. So I think sometimes also we need to be honest with ourselves and be like, do I even have the same taste as this person in foundations, in eyeshadows? And I also do think that it's important as a creator to be like super honest. Why do I love this? Why do I not love that? And I feel like that's been my mission on YouTube these past years, to be very vocal and very describing in my reviews. Why do I like these things? Why don't I like these things? How could this thing that I don't like, how could it work for someone else? And like just talk a little bit about stuff like that so that you don't blindly buy stuff. But yeah, it is sad to see that people just hate the whole community of people because maybe they've been burned by someone. But I definitely, and I can only speak for myself, there's not enough economic incentive, at least for me, to lie about products, especially not when there's so many good products out there. If something sucks, I will let you know that I think it sucks, because there's just so many good things out there. There's no point in me liking things that are bad when there are just so many good things for me to recommend out there. This one's an interesting one because this one is more infinite. I have a couple of questions here about like what equipment I'm using and stuff, and I do have a video where I'm going through my entire beauty room, and if you're interested in my setup, what camera I'm using, what lens I'm using, what lighting I'm using, all of that is in that video. It's like in my beauty room tour, so check out that one if you were interested in any of the technical stuff. But I got this question that is, if YouTube finished tomorrow, what would your dream job be? And I did do a video about like what would I do next, like what's my plan B. And I think like if YouTube ended tomorrow, not like I didn't have time to plan or anything, I would just continue to work with Cinch. I think Cinch is my own beauty brand. I started this year. Cinch has a very good foundation right now, and I would continue to work with that. And I think that like I would probably do that while we're here in the US, and then I would probably when we get back to Europe, I would either get back to school or I would start up another business, like a coffee shop or, I don't know, a bed and breakfast maybe. I would love to have a bed and breakfast, or maybe, I don't know, something like that. I mean, I used to work in like hotels and restaurants and hospitality, and I really did enjoy it. The part that I didn't enjoy was there was no freedom. But like if I owned my own business, there would be free, because that's the part I love about YouTube, the time freedom, that even though I work more doing YouTube than I've ever done before, I choose it. This is my choice. I choose to work 12, 14 hours a day. I chose that, and I also get to choose what days I work that amount of hours and what days I get to work a little less. So I think something like that. If it ended today, YouTube gets deleted, I would just continue to work with Sinch right now, and I would probably scale up that business, or not scale up, but I probably have more time to work with Sinch, so I might have time to do like more releases. Because right now I am dividing my time between Sinch and YouTube, and my time management skills are good, but they're not always perfect. I was recently at Walmart and I bought this CoverGirl lipstick because it was called Orange AF. I don't feel like I need to explain myself. Hello? How do you open this one? Oh, there's a tag on it. Well, that's good, I guess. Hold. There we go. Haha. And this is at the drugstore. That smells pretty good too. So we're gonna try this one before we get into that eyeshadow. Are you kidding me? It's a bright yellow leaning orange at the drugstore. Right under my nose this entire time. Okay, I will link this down below if you wanted to try a orange lipstick at an affordable price tag. This definitely could be something for you. I am actually going to be using this eyeshadow palette because I happen to know that this yellow here, it is, let me actually swatch this one just so you can see. It's more of a topper. So I'm going to use it with a yellow shadow stick. This one from Victoria Beckham. I will link everything, like I said, down below. So this, you can see here. It is a yellow going to an almost silvery blue. So I am gonna put this shadow stick as an eyeshadow primer for this entire look, and then build my look on top of that, just to keep this look actually being cool tones and yellows the way that I want it to be. I thought this question was really interesting because there is a lot of things that could be fit into as an answer to this one, but what is a stereotype or misconception about creators that grind your gears? And of course, like I said, there could be so many different things, but I think one of the things that I think about a lot is how come everyone thinks that all creators are alike? That everyone thinks, acts, have the same kind of morals, work in the same way, work equally hard, when it's not like that in any other place in society. How come everyone agrees that when it comes to any other kind of work, we kind of seem to agree that, like, of course there are teachers, or of course there are authors, or of course there are, I don't know, cashiers, that some people work harder than others. Some people are always late to the job. Some people can never keep a deadline. Some people are not very friendly to their coworkers, and some people are. And some people would literally lie to their own mother just to get a pay raise, and some people would rather get paid less just to be able to sleep at night. I don't really understand how we are accepting that in any other job. Let me see if I have, okay, here we go. In any other job, of course, people are like different, and when it comes to creators, it's like, no, they're all like this. They're all like this. That's the part where I'm like, there are literally people that work full-time with social media that is 20 years younger than me. more than 20 years younger than me. And do you really think that we have the same views on PR, sponsorship, responsibilities, how to spend our money, what is a good deal, what is not a good deal, what is good work ethics, what is not? And with that being said, I'm not saying that I am better at everything at all. I would say that if I got into social media when I was younger, I probably would have been able to work a lot harder than I do right now, because where I am at right now, I'm definitely not in my hustle era. I am in the it's nice to sleep and watch TV as well era. That's where I'm at. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being in that era, but everybody gets into different businesses or different opportunities or different kind of ventures for different reasons. And I find it fascinating that we're willing to accept that all kinds of people want to be policemen or work in corporate America, but for one reason or another, there's only one type of person that wants to work with a creative outlet as like a social media creator. That is fascinating to me, and I wish that more people would like just accept that not everyone that starts out has the same goal, and that doesn't mean that one person's goal is like better than another person's goal. I don't think that my goal is for everyone. I think a lot of people would feel like, because I'm very content where I'm at, not trying to grow. I'm not ever thinking, how will I get viral? Because I don't want to go viral. I don't want to have a video that gets a bunch of views, because I'm going to be honest with you, getting a bunch of views is like a blessing and a curse, because you get a lot of people in that can be super, super rude to you. People that you normally don't have on your channel, that don't like really know you. So for me, my goal is just that I want YouTube to be able to pay my bills as long as I think it's fun. Because I would hate for it to end before I want it to end. I want to decide when it ends. I don't want it to end because I couldn't make it work anymore. I would like it to like end when I feel like, okay, I feel like I am ready to move on to something else. That's of course not always possible, and sometimes we have to like do the best of the situation, but that would be like the ideal situation for me. What do I want to do on my lower lash line? This is me thinking out loud. I think I'm gonna do that same color. You know, I don't love like cool tones on me, so this is just me trying to figure out how I'm gonna get this to work. I think I'm gonna do white in my waterline just to brighten it up as well. And let's do a little yellow. I think I'm gonna do the shimmer on top. And we're just gonna see how this ends up. Say a little prayer. You never know. So this one is interesting as well, because I think that this one, for a lot of people that work in a creative field, I think that this one changes a lot depending on like the day you ask them. So this is just for today. What's your favorite part of your job and what's the most difficult part? I think the favorite part of my job is how much time freedom I have. Not like I said before that I'm like, oh, I work so little now that I work as a full-time creator, because that's not true. I work more hours than I've ever done. I work long days, early mornings. It's not unusual for me to work through a weekend. I just definitely work more, but again, I am choosing to do that. Not because someone told me to, but because I want to. And I think that that's the wonder of it. And also like, I can choose to like, oh, I'm just gonna work really hard now so that I can go visit my family in Europe, for example. Because you're probably actually seeing this video. Me and my husband are probably visiting family and friends in Europe. Actually, that's probably what's going on when you're seeing this video, if I'm not totally mistaken. And right now, I think the worst part is how, even though you are very free, being like a YouTuber or being on any platform, at the end of the day, the platform does decide a lot of things for you. I know you've probably heard this from other creators as well, but as of late, I would say the past 3-ish months, YouTube has lowered their AdSense quite significantly, meaning that what you got paid for 20,000 views in January was actually more than what you get paid for 20,000 views in April or May. And that can be a little discouraging, because you're still putting down the same amount of work, and all of a sudden it becomes really hard to plan how many videos do I need to film. And if you're a smaller creator and maybe you were already like just making ends meet with like everything, all of a sudden you're actually not making ends meet, and you're gonna have to decide what things get cut from your budget, and there's no like explanation from YouTube or anything like that. And that can be really frustrating when something goes wrong and there's no like explanation, like you can't really tell why. That's the hard part, and I don't want anyone to feel bad. I've said this before, don't feel bad for YouTubers. We chose this career, we chose to do this unsecure career. Nobody should feel bad for us. We can always go and get another job. No one is stopping us from doing that. Of course, sometimes it's not that easy, but I'm just saying, I don't want anyone to feel like this is complaining and be saying, oh, poor us. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we did choose to have this really insecure career, and we knew what came with the territory. But it is kind of frustrating sometimes when like your pay cut gets cut by 30-40%, because that is what happened with AdSense. And you're like, what does this mean? And nobody is like there to give you any answers. That can be very frustrating, because like you don't really know how are you supposed to plan for the future when you don't really know what's even going on right now. I think that part, I think a lot of people also, it made them probably think, what am I going to do next? Just as I have been thinking like, oh, what am I going to do next? Like what is like the next step? What's the next plan? And I think for me, I have decided that instead of uploading more videos, I am going to take this opportunity to upload less videos. And this might seem like counterproductive. Is that the word you would use in English as well? I feel like that's a word. It's how I would describe it in Swedish anyways. To be like, oh, I'm getting paid less, I'm going to upload even less. A lot of people will probably do the opposite. But I have been working myself to the bone, and I am taking this opportunity to just give myself a little bit of vacation this summer. So I am going to cut down to 2 videos a week in June and 3 videos a week after that, just to get back on my feet again. Not get back on my feet, but like to feel like I am in control of my life again. Maybe that's how I would say. What do we think about this look? I actually really like this look. I think it's really cool. And that like yellow duochrome looked so cool on top of that shadow stick. I actually really, really like how that turned out. That is a really nice way to play with cool tones together with the yellow. I really like how that is looking. I think I only have one new product to use. Ooh, I'm actually going to be using this one again. I'm trying to figure out whether or not I think this setting spray, the matte setting spray by Milk Makeup, if it's good or not. I've actually really been enjoying the primer. That's the primer I used as well. So I'm in the middle of reviewing these, but so far, so good. Although I will say the spritzer is a little attacky. It's on the cusp of being attacky. It's like, it's a little passive aggressive at this point. It's not full on attacky. I bought this one in the Sephora sale and then I forgot to use it. Everybody and their mother was going on about the Tower 28 mascara. It is called Make Waves. Love the packaging, and I was like, listen, I want to try it. The main reason why I wanted to try it is because I saw that it was a plastic wand, and I love a plastic wand. I feel like these bent ones, what am I supposed to do with these? You know what, that wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be. Let me see if I if I bend my lashes or like curl my lashes and use this mascara, what it would look like. I think I'm still gonna put on some half lashes, but like, let's see what this entices. This was a really good question because this is something that also I think people don't always understand, and this matters more to some creators than to others, and it is, how do you deal with the late payments from brands? It's driving me actually insane. It is, as I say this as a creator that's been doing this for 8 years, and I also say this as someone who owns their own brand, and I also say this as someone who pays invoices to like people who are helping me, like my virtual assistant and my editor and my accounting team. Like, I find it fascinating how different brands are at having their finances and their invoices in order. I cannot even fathom how some brands take months to pay affiliate money, months to pay like outstanding invoices, and you sometimes have to like remind them. It just is such an unprofessional atmosphere. There are several of the people that I work with as affiliates, because I do have quite a few affiliate links with brands that like I really love and that I really like. But I will say there is a few of them that are very inconsistent in when they are paying creators. Most affiliate networks or most brands love this mascara. That is absolutely incredible. I totally see where the hype is coming from. Let me just say that from the get-go. But most brands will pay you either on the last of the month or the first of the month. And then I think I have like 3 brands that pay me bi-monthly. And I know it's happening bi-monthly, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as you have a pattern. But then there are a couple of brands that quite literally pay you like 3 times a year. And it's always random. Sometimes it's on an odd Tuesday, sometimes it's 2 months in a row and then nothing for 6 months. Sometimes you have to like remind them. And again, I am in a situation where I am not depending on my affiliate money to be able to pay my bills. It's like I said before, it's a cherry on top. And I'm extremely grateful. When you use my links, when you use my codes, like the cherry on top is me and Ricardo being able to do something on our free time. Being able to like eat nutritious food and like, you know, buy the double bark box for my dogs as I did last month, because I was like, they deserve something fun. So I bought like a double up bark box, and they love bark box. This sounds like an ad read. It's not. I wish. Bark box, sponsor me. My dogs love your stuff. But like, I'm not depending on that money. But there are creators that actually do need that extra AdSense, that actually do need that extra money from affiliate payouts to be able to go to the grocery store or pay that outstanding bill. There are creators that are living paycheck to paycheck and chose this career for the reason that I love this career, which is the time freedom and being able to be creative and just connecting with people online, not for the money. Because like you see those people like dressed top to toe in Gucci and being on like private planes, tripping with Tarte once every 2 months. That is a very select few of influencers or of creators. Most creators will never do that. Most creators will never reach to that level of income to be able to do stuff like that, or to be able to be invited to things like that. For a lot of creators that do this full time, it is paying just as any other job. And for some people, they are living on probably less than some of you watching this, and they do it because they love it. So when some brands are just not paying in time, I feel like it feels a little disrespectful to the people that have been promoting your brand to not even pay them on time. And also I feel like it makes me feel like they are forgetting where they came from. Like, maybe they forgot how it felt, because I haven't forgotten how it feels to not be able to go to the grocery store. I have not forgotten how it feels to worry about whether or not you can pay rent. I have not forgotten how that feels. I definitely did not come from money in any way, shape, or form. And I think that sometimes brands are like, oh, it's only $100. And it's like, that's someone's groceries that they're not able to purchase because you didn't give them their $100. So I kind of wish that that would be a little bit better, and I do agree that I think that that is a problem. I did have one other question that I would like to talk about, because I feel like it is a misconception that I have my shit together. Maybe I'm just giving off that vibe that I'm a bitch that has her shit together. So let's talk about that last. I'm just gonna put on the half lash. So the look is done, and I do feel a little bit like a vixen today. I think everything turned out really good. And even though I don't love cool tone neutrals and grays on me, I love yellows. So I think this is the compromise. This is me compromising, but I do love how everything came out. And this lippy and the mascara, people were not lying. People are not lying at all. And I also used this one again today, and it is just so pretty. But I thought this comment was so funny, because it is like, oh my god. How do you balance it all? Everything that comes with creating, running a home, seriously, how? I don't. That's also like, I want to be honest with you, I don't. I work really, really long days. I work more now than I have ever done. I go up at 7 in the morning and I start working at 7:30 once I've like, you know, pet and fed my cat and like had some coffee, and I'll work until sometimes not too seldom 9 o'clock at night. I don't have time. I try to cook as often as possible. Me and my husband do HelloFresh as often as we think that we'll have time for it, just to be able to like do some kind of home cooked meals. But it's not that easy. We both work a lot. We try to not work during the weekends to just make sure that we can like, you know, do proper things with the dogs, do proper things with each other. But we are two people that love our job and also don't mind working a lot. And that makes it really hard sometimes to juggle other things. It's been quite the struggle just to find dates that work for both of us to go and visit our family in Europe. And sometimes I love a tidy home, but sometimes there are days at end when our home looks like an absolute mess because none of us have time to do it. And then all of a sudden both of us are like, listen, we need to do something about this. It looks like we're staying like in a dorm. This looks like a student dorm, and we just, you know, take an hour and just pick ourselves up. But yeah, it's not that easy. Like, I would never have time for kids, for example. Me and my husband don't have kids. We don't have any plans to get kids, but like, there's no time for that because we would have to restructure our entire lives. So I think that sometimes when it's like, how do you juggle all of it? I mean, we do our best. Like, we do our best. Sometimes we fail and sometimes we don't. We did go on a weekend together to Fort Worth and Dallas. And at first we were going to be like, oh, none of us have to work this weekend. Let's just, stay at home and just relax. But both of us were like, literally looked at each other and were like, no, we need to leave the house. We need to leave the house, otherwise we're just gonna start working. We know it. We both know it because he has a home office here. I work from home. So we were like, no, we need to leave the house. So that's why we decided to just take a weekend in Fort Worth and Dallas, which was lovely. I still haven't edited the vlog, but here we are. So it's sometimes it's really hard to balance it. And I think that also, like I said in the beginning, remember that creators choose what to show you. And even when they're showing stuff that is hard, and even when they're talking about stuff that is hard, even when they're showing bad things, they chose to show you those bad things. Those are the bad things they chose to show you. And I think that that's something that's very healthy to keep in mind when you're looking at things on Instagram. This isn't a reality show. This is a very curated feed of what creators are choosing deliberately to show you. I hope that that makes sense, and let me know what you think about the look. Don't forget to check the description box for more info, and I will see you again really soon, somewhat soon, for a new video. Bye!